Primeview TV. New media with a difference.
Enough is Enough, Soke is the show dedicated to debate and discussion towards a better Niger for all of us.
One day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk good. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk.
When it comes to choosing the right product for my skin, it's all about the ingredients for me. Niger skincare products are authentic, fresh, and best of all, completely organic. I love the Motherland Moisturizer. It's designed to smooth and soak in the skin without ever feeling greasy, and their Jade Roller has literally become a part of my self-care routine. Visit NigerSkincare.com today and receive 20% off your first order. For beautiful skin you were born to love.
Hi guys, my name is Yabo and I am the founder of Masasi B. If you're looking for unique African-inspired clothing and accessories, please check out my brand. All details are at the end of this video. Feel free to get in touch. Thank you.
Curl pattern has just bounced back. Look at that, without any product in the hair at all. When you use Sherma Haven's natural hair care product line, your hair flourishes and becomes the main attraction.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another show, Enough is Enough, Soke, sponsored by Better Niger. I'm your host, Mr. Femi Oke, welcoming you to the show dedicated to debate and discussions towards a better Niger for us all. Tonight's show promises to be yet another interesting one. The question we will ponder today is ODUDUWA Nation viable or dead on arrival? My guests to deliberate this topic via StreamYard tonight include Princess Oyeronke Akinlolu. She's the Southwest Coordinator of Yoruba Indigenes Foundation. Good evening to you, Princess.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, all.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
My next guest, I have Mr. Olufemi. Many of our guests know him. Adegbelugbe. He's an oil and gas portfolio manager. Good evening, Olufemi.
Hi, good evening. Nice to be with you all.
Good. I have also Mrs. Temitayo Agemo. Are you there with us? I think there's some link, some problem. Akun Boyejo, she's a petrochemical engineer, and maybe she will get back to us shortly. I also have another engineer, Engineer Olumuyiwa Adeli. He's a director of Vitotel Technologies. Good evening to you, Olumuyiwa.
Good evening, Femi. Good evening, everybody. I'm pleased to be here.
Right, we may have some other guests joining us as well, some of our regular ones. So welcome to the show, Enough is Enough, Soke. You can contact us and ask questions and make comments on our Facebook and YouTube live handles at Prime View Television, and call in to be heard on +44 7939 895 108. You can also use WhatsApp for that. We shall look at the Southwest Nigeria, Yoruba Nation as a viable entity inside Nigeria and as an independent entity, and finish off with current affairs.
And to be fair, you know what? It's good. I like boxing. It's great.
Nigerians and Yoruba and non-Yoruba are watchful onlookers, perplexed as to how the strongest region economically, with the exception of oil and gas revenues from South-South, with educational, industrial, and political advancement, is hell-bent on a self-destructive exercise to liberate Yorubas from one Niger and a better Niger. Before we start, let's go round briefly so the audience can learn a little bit about our guests. So I will start with you, Princess Oyeronke. Which part of ODUDUWA are you from? And please tell us a brief bit about yourself. Okay, about yourself and Niger, and also I know you were at the Niger-Israeli Business Summit today, which you were part of earlier today. So if you could tell us a bit about that. Thank you. Princess, go ahead. Hello, Princess, can you hear us?
Are you referring to me?
Yes. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and about the Nigeria-Israeli Business Summit, and also your Southwest Coordinator Business of the Yoruba. Yeah, go ahead. Briefly.
Oh, God. Hello? Are we on?
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes, you're on. We can hear you.
Yeah. My name is Princess Oyeronke Bolajoko Akinlolu. Indigenous Foundation. I'm the founder of Concerned Yoruba Mothers Foundation. I'm a member of Voice of Reason, and I'm the founder of Imole ODUDUWA. I am a member, an executive member of Professional for Humanity, an executive member, in fact, a vice president of African Women in Leadership Organization, to mention but a few. Professionally, I'm into travel and tourism, and I do other jobs too. I am the chairman and the CEO of Wiron White Energy Limited. I am a woman of my word, and I believe so much and have passion about the youth and women generally in Nigeria and particularly in Europe. That is where I have my passion. And maybe as we continue, we'll talk more about ourselves. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Princess. I'll go on to Femi Adegboluwe. You are a frequent guest on our show. Please tell the audience briefly where you are from in ODUDUWA land and what you do. I know you're currently in Nigeria, and I trust all is well there.
Well, so thank you, Femi. Well, I left Nigeria last week. I'm not currently in Nigeria.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, so it's always a pleasure to be on this show, right? So by profession, my background is applied geophysics. I'm an oil and gas portfolio manager, currently based in Canada. I grew up in Kano. I grew up in downtown Kano, spent the first 28 years of my life in Kano. My parents are from Ondo town. I don't know the name of the local government I come from, but I have been to 35 out of the 36 states in Nigeria. I've also been to 38 countries in the world. I am strongly passionate about the next level agenda. So I am a chronic supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo, and I am a very good friend of Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. I want to take the next question to Muyiwa. If you could, Olumuyiwa, if you could tell us a bit about yourself. I know you're based here in London, and I know that you're part of this company. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Femi, for that question, and I'm pleased to be here again. My name is Muyiwa Adili. I'm from Abeokuta, I'm in Ogun State, proudly Egba, you know what I mean. So, and I'm a telecoms consultant. I'm the director of digital technologies as well as IBSMS, which is my digital marketing platform. And I'm very, very political, and I'm very, very interested in the political affairs of my country, which is Nigeria. Even though I'm far away, but it's like I've actually not left. People will tell me it's only your body that is here. Your soul and your mind is in Nigeria, which is true. And the reason is not far-fetched. The reason is because Nigeria is such a great country. It shouldn't be where it is today. And we need to do something about it. We need to have a concerted effort to make sure we'll bring it out of the doldrum that it is at the moment and position her, where it should be in the community of nations.
Fantastic. Okay. So we've also got another guest who's coming in. One of our regulars is Dr. Olufemi Obakanrui. If you could just tell us also where you're from and just quickly a little bit about yourself. I know he's a mathematician.
Thank you very much, viewers, and good evening. My name is Dr. Olufemi Obakanrui. I'm from Abeokuta, and Abeokuta to the core. Abeokuta blood flowing in me. I live in London, and also I'm in academics. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, for those who may not know where I'm from, my name is Femi Oke. I'm also from Ogun State. It's no specialty that I got all these people from Ogun State. It's just a coincidence. And I want to say to everybody here, Crawler, welcome to the show. Right, before we start the show, I'd want us to watch this quick video, which gives us a flavor of what we're going to be discussing. So let's go on to this video, and we'll come back to go on to questions. Enough is enough, Soro, Soke.
Àwọn dà jẹ́ kí n já sí wọn lára èmi Jagunlabi ọmọ Odùduwà ti dé èmi akin tí ò gbọdọ̀ ṣojo màá kó iṣẹ́ sí wọn lára bí ẹ dá wa sébè àwa náà là yín sékoro òjò pòwe kókò bó lè ya kó ya bí ó dogun kó dogun o bí ó dìjà kó dìjà ìgbín wa tẹnu mọ́gi yìí ná àgùnlà ní tiwa àgúnlà àwọn ajẹnimógún àgùn tẹ̀tẹ̀ àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ìdásílẹ̀ Yorùbá nation yóò di mímú ṣẹ o àgbò tó tàdé mẹ́yìn agbára ló lọ mú wá wọ́n rò pé mo ti lọ wọn ò mọ̀ pé mo ti dé I might not be the king ṣùgbọ́n orí ti dé mi ládé yìí ná a ti pè lórúkọ tó ń jẹ́ a ti jẹ jíjẹ àti mímú kíkẹ́ la wà bí ìbọn gbòòsà 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 àmọ̀tẹ́kùn yìí ò ṣe é mú o ẹ má bẹ̀rù ẹ má fòyà ẹ má ṣojo Jagunlabi ìjìnlẹ̀ ọmọ Odùduwà ti dé ìdásílẹ̀ Yorùbá nation fún ìtẹ̀síwájú àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko.
ọmọ Yorùbá lèmi o.
àmọ́ra wa o tàbá ríra wa àmọ́ra wa o tàbá ríra wa tàbá ríra wa o àmọ́ra wa tàbá ríra wa o àmọ́ra wa. yàrá ẹ̀ ló yàrá ẹ̀ ló yàrá ẹ̀ ló.
Nàìjíríà yìí ti gbogbo wa ní kò lè bàjẹ́ One Naija ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀ àgbájọwọ́ la fi ń sọ̀yà One Naija let's stay together to build a better Naija for all. Ìbàjẹ́ bíntín ó ti tó dàlúrú ṣùgbọ́n ṣá iṣẹ́ pọ̀ rẹpẹtẹ láti gbèlú wa ga àjèjì ọgọ́ kan ògbẹ́rù dórí ẹ má bẹ̀rù o ẹ má fòyà ọ̀la ń bọ̀ wá da Naija dára fún gbogbo wa dópin ẹ̀já fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ láìsí ìrẹ́pọ̀ kò lè pé wà àwọn tó fẹ́ dà lóru kò lè ṣeé ṣe fún wọn gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ gbòòsà 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 One Naija and a better Naija.
Let's all strive for one Naija and a better Naija. We all want a better Naija. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Enough is Enough, Soro Soke. You've obviously watched that video and you know exactly what we're talking about. I'm going to give the first question to you, Princess. You are here as the Yoruba Indigenous Foundation. Who is the head? Who is the head of this organization? And how was he or she, or you even elected? And do you have the elected mandate to speak on behalf of the Yoruba?
Yoruba Indigenous Foundation is an organization that was established 18 years ago and is being led by Dr. Olumide Aderibule. Nobody has elected me. Every bona fide Yoruba indigene has a right to speak for Yoruba land. We don't need to elect anybody. If you know you are truthful, you know what you want, you know what you're saying, you have the knowledge of what is happening, then I think you should be able to speak up for Yoruba land. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Want to welcome another guest of ours, Deacon Adeoye Obanleo. Welcome to the show. If you off your mic, Deacon.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. How are you doing, Femi?
Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll crack on with the questions, and the next question is going to be to Mr. Olufemi Adegbeluge. I have often wondered what is driving separatist agitations to scatter Nigeria, especially Yoruba and Igbo, who form a tripod of tribes that dominate Nigeria, benefiting mostly from Nigeria since its inception, compared with the over 300 other tribes who are truly marginalized. In all seriousness, the Yoruba today cannot be said to be truly marginalized at all. What is your take on this?
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you so much, Femi. I believe that question should not have been directed to me. It should have been directed to those that are in the driving seat of this agitation are the ones in a better position to answer that question, because my own position is very clear. Okay, so let me just say this upfront: I do not believe in any Yoruba or any breakup of Nigeria in any form. Is not what I support. But so that question of what is the driver is not a question for me. But what do we see on the surface? But there's some things we see on the surface, right? Which I can talk about. I feel that all this, so first of all, the agitation itself, from my own point of view, and thank you so much, Princess Oyelonke, because you said something that is very important. You say every Yoruba person has the right to speak for the Yoruba land. And that includes people like us that oppose any form of breakup in Nigeria. So thank you for that. But what do we see on the surface, right? Look at it. Let's look at the ODUDUWA report, this agitation for ODUDUWA report. What I see on the surface is that the people behind this agitation have certain political affiliations, okay? Certain political affiliations. So that tells me that it is politically motivated. This is what we see on the surface. But maybe people like Princess Oyelonke can tell us more about what is the true drivers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So in effect, you're saying that she's really not speaking for you, you're speaking for yourself. Let me, if anyone has a counter to narrative, can you explain to us how the Yoruba are being marginalized in Nigeria beyond the usual rhetoric about service chiefs? Is anybody going to tell us how the Yoruba are marginalized? It's open to anybody. Okay, go on.
May I come on?
Go ahead.
First of all, Yorubas the agitators are not talking about marginalization.
Okay.
Somebody like me, first of all, the most important thing in any nation is security. If there is no security, that nation can never grow. I am involved in this. Let me say, I'm speaking for regional governance now. Not talking about ODUDUWA nation. We have United Kingdom. We have 4 nations under United Kingdom. We can still be together, but let every region go and manage themselves, especially security-wise, education-wise, and the form of governance. Someone like me come into this agitation because I am a victim of the insecurity we have now in Nigeria presently. A road that my husband had been passing for more than 20 years. He passed that road on the 8th of June 2015. He got into the hands of bandits. He was kidnapped. On Monday, ransom was requested for. We didn't prepare for ransom to give money to anyone. We started running around. We got money on Thursday. They had already killed him. Yet they collected that ransom from us. 8.5 million. Listen, sir. We have children at home, small children. That's the breadwinner of a family. That is just one out of many. We were not able to, the police refused to enter the bush on that Thursday because those small Fulani boys said he was in the front. They should go and pick him up. Whereas he was somewhere there in the forest, dead. We were able to see his dead body, swollen, couldn't recognize him. On Saturday, with about 12 bullet holes on him. This is a road this man had been passing for long. Now, I'm happy that somebody said he had lived in Kano before. I lived in Kano. In fact, I trained under Nigerian Airways in Kano. And I know a lot about the North. You see, there is no amount of unity that we want. You are talking of unity among the elites. Let's go. I am a grassroots mobilizer. Let's go back to the grassroots. To the poor masses in the villages. How much love do we have? Especially from the north to the south. The northerners to the southerners. They don't want to see us. They don't love us. I've lived there. I was even attacked a few months ago in Mokola, Ibadan, by a northern beggar. That is just one aspect. There is no love. No love. If I want to go into the security aspect, what they want in the north is not what we want in the south. We don't have the same culture. We don't have the same language. We don't have the same tradition. And we are not saying we cannot live together. You can come and live in Yoruba land if you know you will follow the Yoruba rules and regulations, the law of the land. If you love the north, go to the north. If you love Sharia, go and live in the north and follow the Sharia rules and regulations. My late mom is from a Muslim background. We know ourselves in Yoruba land. We don't fight ourselves, the Muslims and the Christians. We celebrate the Ileya and the Christmas together, Easter. Even the traditionalists, we follow the masquerades. We follow them to play. I wish to tell you, sir, it has come to this stage. I'm not talking about marginalization. I don't believe in that. That's for the elites. Who is marginalizing who?
I'm
but
glad
there's
you
no,
said that.
no, it's not because of that.
Okay.
You can listen
Only because of time. Only because of time. We've got to bring other people in. So I appreciate your personal experience, and it obviously is something that we must take into consideration. But of course, everybody's situation is different. Kidnapping happens all over Nigeria, and not every kidnapping is done by a Fulani herdsman or whatever. We got the case of many incidences, so we'll not go into that for now, but we can get into that later. I want to take the next question to Olumuyiwa. Many Yoruba say that Nigeria is broken and it needs restructuring now. No restructuring, then we demand Yoruba nation now. I mean, the princess has talked about security as being the driver for her, and she's talked about her personal experience. while others are talking about restructuring. And of course, the way that the police is structured is also a problem. You can actually have restructuring as opposed to a whole complete new nation. How do we get either restructuring that means different things to different people, and in the absence of restructuring, how do we achieve Yoruba nation?
Thank you very much, Femi, for that question. The point is, if you have a group of people with over 250 languages and living together, there's definitely has to be some kind of structure that has to be built to actually accommodate everyone. Well, Princess said it. We don't speak the same language. We believe in different religion, which is fine. There has to be a kind of structure where there can be self-governance, okay, within that. To be honest with you, I believe in one Nigeria on the condition that we are structured. That means every, region determine, their success, their failure, everything they want to do. Because it's been done, it's not theory. It was done in the First Republic or before, even pre-independence, where you have the Western region, the Northern region, the Eastern region, the Midwest, etc. It worked. Everybody, the records are there that it worked. And if it's not broken, you don't fix it. Yeah, I understand that the military people came in and bad governance, everything became wishy-washy. Yes, we can't forever dwell on that. Let's go back to basics and do the right thing, okay? Let power not be concentrated in the center. Let every region determine, self-determination, what they want to do. Let them have the power to do their education, agriculture, commerce, economics, etc. That's nothing wrong with that.
They already have that, right?
No, I don't think so. We call ourselves, Federal Republic, but we are not federal in any way, shape, or form. Somebody coughs somewhere, and everybody has to go. That's what we were talking about.
Just to cut you in, sorry. The agricultural policies of the states, it's got nothing to do with the federal government. The educational policies of the states is also it's not on the exclusive list. Also, health is not on the exclusive list. So.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, I mean, that's a kind of thing that was just, came out of late, really, to have a kind of section agricultural policies. It's not like that, but before now. What I'm trying to say in essence is, it's inevitable, to have to be structured, in that way, so that people can actually come together and be able to do things together because they understand each other, they speak the same language, they have some kind of background together. Let me use the point of the Republic, as an instance, because I study this particular separation, that happened in Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia. Mm-hmm.
Czechoslovakia. When I was doing the research, it says that it's one country that actually separated peacefully. Unlike
there were two separate countries put together by the Soviet Union.
No, even before Soviet Union, after the Austria-Hungary was dissolved after World War I, that was exactly what gave back to Czechoslovakia, and they went to Pittsburgh, something we call the Pittsburgh Agreement, and in that they said it's going to be one state but two different nations. That was how Czechoslovakia started. And down the line, they had leaders that said, don't let us make it two nations, then let's make it one nation. But some Slovaks, for example, they didn't like that. They preferred it to be two nations within one state. So it got to a point where because the GDP of the Czech Republic, the Czech part of things, was bigger than the Slovaks, and they were trying to bring money from the Czech Republic, or to the Czech region into Slovakia. And people said, no, how can that be so? It's not going to work that way. Let us have our own space. We can be one state, but there is self-determination between the Czech people and the Slovak people. Okay, so and they went down their route. I can tell you that story from beginning to the end, but I don't want to turn into a history lesson. But at the end of the day, give me a minute. At the end of the day, they agreed that okay, we are going to go our separate ways. Okay, I can go into how that one happened, but the point I'm trying to make is, yes, I'm not going to do that because I can talk about it for 1 hour. I won't stop, trust me. But what we're trying to look at here is we can live together as a state, but different nations. It can happen if we are willing. Okay, there might be some extraneous reasons why people don't want that, and I don't want to start going into that, but for whatever it is, we cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and we're expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. Now,
before time, let's bring others in. Let's just for time. I want to welcome Temitayo Agemo Okuboyejo to the platform. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Fantastic. So we'll come back to you, but I want to get the next question to. It's going to be to who we're going to give it to. We're going to give it to Deacon Adeoye. Just to follow up on what you said, Olumuyiwa.
Yeah.
The situation in Czechoslovakia, 2 nations. We got 300 nations. It's you're talking about chalk and cheese here. It's not going to be child's play to get 300 different entities, to have 300 different nations.
Hold
on just a minute. No, you've spoken. You're not going to have, that's even more countries than there is in Africa. So hold on.
I'm not saying everybody should have their own kingdom.
Yeah, because you see,
the
point is, who determines who's entitled to have a nation? Is it you or the people who are separate nations? Well, let me bring Deacon Adeoye, because we don't want to be separatists, selfish now, that we can only have Yoruba nation. All the other agitations,
we come to the other side of the coin. That's what I believe, but if not going to be possible, then we're going to the other side. But let the show continue, Femi.
Yeah. Adeoye. So we've talked about the security, talked about restructuring. Another problem is resource control. People are agitated because they say resource control is the problem. Federal government, as mentioned here today, is controlling everything. So resource control, one of the main reasons for clamoring for restructuring, as separatist agitators erroneous to claim, that once a state has resource control, they will now reach uhuru and become viable. Everybody knows that private-minded companies, not governments, nor the federal or the state government, that engage in mining activities, which are risky capital-intensive ventures. Revenues from offshore oil and gas exploration in the international waters make up the majority of our oil and gas receipts, which goes to the federal government account, not to the states, and will remain a federal asset with restructuring. What resources are there in southwest Nigeria that the federal government is denying the southwest states of using? What are those resources?
Thank you, Femi. You see, in Ogun State and Ondo State in particular, I'm sure most of my brothers and sisters on board will agree with me that, especially in Ondo State, they've been able to, in the last decade or so, they've been able to explore some mineral resources which they believe, if given the right incentive, will be good for the development of Ondo State. But you see, the only thing that actually comes to mind is, no matter the resources that we have, if you don't have the finance to actually develop these mineral resources that you have, obviously you're going to be at a lesser end, because these things, they are there, but you don't have the, because if most of these states, especially Ondo State and Ekiti State, which are developing states, they have mineral resources, which we have in Ogun State as well. But it's about increasing your IGR, not be too dependent or too reliant on the federal government. Femi, on a number of cases, number of issues that we've discussed in the past, you've also been against the idea of actually, states relying on the federal government. But in a situation where, the Southwest, we are expected to develop ourselves, but with limited resources, it becomes a situation where, we tend to be living in fantasy world. How do we? You see, because the problems that most of these governors complain of is by the time they get this allocation from the federal government, by the time they pay salaries, there's actually nothing left. So how do we now begin to develop our states? How do we now begin to grow our idea? So it now boils down to one thing. We need to adopt the mentality whereby people in each state begin to pay their dividends, which is we need to increase the revenue taxation in each state. When you increase the level of taxes being generated in each state, then there will be sufficient funds in your state for you to be able to venture into other things like agriculture, cocoa, and I think there's oil. Oil was the mineral being discovered in Ondo State, but Ondo State is not known to be Ondo State and Ekiti State are known to be, and even Osun are known to be civil servant states. So, and in terms of allocation to Southwest states, apart from Lagos State, Lagos State, which is the economic capital of Nigeria, most of the funds that comes to all these states is nothing to write home about, and that is why it now gets to a signal by when these funds will come in. The state governors they are always in a dilemma. How do we begin to go about the exercise of implementing how we're going to educate these funds so that it will be meaningful? Agriculture, as we know, is the backbone to Nigeria's economy. But states like Ekiti, Ondo, or Osun State, they are civil servant states. They don't have enough money to generate that is coming from the federal government. They don't have enough resources to raise their IGR, and that's the major problem that we are having with it.
Will that change when they have Yoruba Nation?
Sorry, Femi, could you repeat that?
Will that change when you have Yoruba Nation?
You see, Femi, that is speculation, and I've always said one thing, and I stand to be corrected. I am not against the Yorubas fighting for what rightfully belongs to us, but what I do say and what I do believe is, look, if we are to go about the business of agitation, let's first and foremost, the first step will be to have a referendum. If we have a referendum and majority, not just a microscopic few, are for the idea, then I think we have a chance of moving forward. Because at the end of the day, it's not every single Yoruba indigene belonging to all the 6 Yoruba states that is going to be part of what we are agitating for. So it's a 50-50 situation.
Let me bring Temitaya into it. Temitaya, I did ask Adeoye and about the resources that supposedly are in the Southwest that the state is being denied. I didn't really get many answers to that, and I do know that Ondo State and some other states, Bauchi states and even Ogun State, are oil producing states now, and they're having problems because they went to the legislature to try and change the law to make them be part of the Niger Delta development state, so that they could have higher money coming back from the federal government. But anyway, that's by the way.
Federal government, yeah.
Yeah. So Temitaya, to save Nigeria is a task that must be done. To keep Nigeria one, the battle must be won. This was the clarion call of Goran during the Civil War. Are these words not relevant today? Are we better with scatter Niger or one Niger and a better Niger?
Okay, well, thank you very much. So let me start from the beginning. Let me start from the 1963 Constitution that people like to reference so much. That same Constitution was what we were practicing when Nigeria went into civil war. So in my head, I often wonder what sort of magic would be performed if we were to go our separate ways, as people are wont to say. So that's number one. Now, secondly, I mean, the Nigerian Constitution, the 1999 Constitution that we all like to berate so much, it's not perfect. But if it were followed to the letter, in my opinion, in its current form, we wouldn't have as many agitations that we have now. So taking that, going to the question you raised about the resources in individual states, the ones that I'm aware of, I know that Osun State has gold in live reserves and a few other minerals. I know that Ondo State has the highest gas reserves in Nigeria. The other Niger Delta states have oil more in abundance than gas. I know that Ogun State has bitumen and limestone. It's the reason.
And oil.
Well, there is, but I'm not sure there has been anything of a commercial value found in Ogun State. In fact, Ogun State is so rich in limestone. It's the reason why you have Lafarge sitting there, big, large factory there and mining limestone like it's going to go out of fashion.
And
so the federal government hasn't stopped Ogun State from doing that. Now, in terms of in fact, Oyo State is another state that you can bring into this mining equation. The northern part of Oyo State is very rich in minerals, in calcite, there's a particular mineral that is used for, that thing you use in, when you're making, tiles. Yes, for tiles.
Marble.
Yeah, so in fact, you name it. Some of the weirdest minerals you can think of on this earth, you'll find in Oyo State. And it goes on there. And what's interesting is that Oyo State, along with some other northern states like Niger and Zamfara, in fact, a lot of their local economy is supported by artisanal mining. The federal government hasn't stopped any of the state governments from doing that. Why haven't any of our governors, why haven't they supported artisanal mining in their states to the point where they can get internal generated revenue from it?
Like in Zamfara.
And I was just going to go to the Zamfara equation where, and a lot of people went up in arms about what happened in Zamfara, how Zamfara's the gold in Zamfara belongs to the Zamfara, but the oil in the Niger Delta belongs to everybody. Well, don't forget that the same Niger Delta and the Niger Delta Commission, I think it was in 2017, they signed modular refineries into law, and we were supposed to have modular refineries that state governments were supposed to support and help bring into life. What happened to all of this? So if I put that side by side, so in my head, for me, some of the biggest problems we have is the problem of accountability. We refuse to take responsibility, and we refuse to be accountable for our actions, and we take, we kind of shift the blame on the easiest, the easiest.
Okay. Let me bring Dr. Olufemi into the mix now. Some insist, Doctor, that the Yoruba nation was an independent nation before the British amalgamated Nigeria in 1914. This is clearly false, as the Oyo Empire ended in the mid-1800s. Ever since, there has never been a single Yoruba independent nation. How do you get all the Yoruba into a single nation, including the Yoruba in Kwara, Ogi, Edo, Benin Republic, and Togo, into one Yoruba nation? Where will the capital be? And will some not be screaming marginalization in a Yoruba nation? We could be seeing Egbaya, Ijebu, and Ife republics loading. What do you say to that?
Thank you very much, Femi. It's a sad narrative when we come to these issues like this. That when we come to this issue of, like my sister said in there, Temitope, we like the blame game. We look for the easiest targets. Even talk about marginalization, let's go to Oyo State. I went to school I schooled in University of Ibadan. And I tell you, I was an activist. I was a unionist in University of Ibadan. And I studied in Ibadan so well. In Oyo State, they've had 7 governors. 5 of them have come from one town. One town, Ibadan, produced one town. Other towns have not produced governor. Only 2 Soke and Ogumosho. The others 5 have come from Ibadan. Is that not marginalization within ourselves? In Ogun State, we have issue of marginalization in Ogun State. We have 5 governors, 3 from Ijebu, 2 from Abeokuta, not from Egbado. Is that not marginalization? So if you are talking about that, we have not even sorted our own home. We are talking about that. If you talk about the capital of Ibadan, of ODUDUWA nation, some people say Ibadan. Who say Ibadan for where? Landlocked in this modern era? It will be Lagos. They will just, oh, Tinubu will take over the reins of the. So before you know it, we will start all over again. The issue we are talking about in the we have it amongst ourselves. Like Semitokwe said, all we need to do is look within ourselves, sort our home out, and then therefore everybody will become the bride of Nigeria. But instead of that, we look for excuse. Oh, when we get to ODUDUWA nation, we will solve that issues. The issue of this ODUDUWA nation itself is brewing. The crisis in ODUDUWA nation will be bigger than we can ever imagine. Until we sort ourselves out, go and look at the issue of insecurity. Let us sort our local government. When I was growing up, there was what we call Olopa local police. Where are those ones now? Is the federal government stopping us from securing our local government? No, nobody's interested in that. Everybody's talking about bigger things. Everybody's looking for the federal government.
We have Amoteku now, Dr.
We have Amoteku. They refuse to fund it. The governors refuse to fund it.
Exactly.
I'm sure you are not sure of what you are saying. Please.
I am sure. Sorry?
You are not
I am sure.
You are not sure. Listen, I am involved in Amoteku. Do you understand? Please,
yes.
Can I add something to you?
Yes.
When it comes to local security, the federal government, before the invasion of the bandits, they did a mop-up in the south and middle belt, mop-up of arms and ammunition. And these people came into our land with AK-47, AK-49, all sorts of, nobody, have you ever seen any of these bandits being prosecuted in the court?
They are.
I've definitely seen them.
They are being prosecuted and they are being killed every day. They are being killed by military every day.
I'm not talking of killing. I'm talking of arresting. Excuse me.
We don't arrest them.
Would you prefer to arrest them or kill them?
Nobody is talking of marginalization. We are talking of taking what we have in our hand and taking care of our land. Education, agriculture, security. Listen, the north is highly porous. And I bet you in the next 1.5–2 years, the north will turn to Sudan or Afghanistan.
Let's have some order. Let's have some order here, because it's not you that's directing the show. Let me give you the opportunity to answer this question. Sorry, Doctor. Most Yoruba nation separatist agitators look back at the 1950s and 60s as the glory days of Western Nigeria, of the Western region, and want to return to those days of regional government, reliant mainly on cocoa, as Obanlewo said. These days were not actually glorious. Our advancements were mediocre by normal standards, though we were and remain the economic and educational industrial powerhouse. So what was really changed when Southwest governors have gone on? But the problem is that these governors, there's no transparency. When they have the security vote, we don't know what they do with the security vote. So when you talk about security, what are they actually doing?
Are you talking to me?
Princess, to you. You're talking about going back in time when everything was glorious, when actually our achievement was quite mediocre, and you had Operation Wete, you had corruption, it's the 10%, the whole society was a mess. That's all we had to do.
I was not born then.
What I'm saying is now,
I cannot speak for that period. I can speak for now.
So now,
I have some of my members in Amoteku. They are being paid above the approved minimum wage. That's number one. Number two, please permit me to refer to the 1999 Constitution my sister was referring to. Have you ever gone from beginning to the end of that Constitution, which favors one part of religion above every other? I'm a Christian and I'm a traditionalist. Excuse me. I don't belong to. Like I said before you came in, Dr. Olufemi, you were not here when I was talking about myself. And when I speak with a lot of passion. I'm not being paid by any politician or anybody.
No one on this
So
panel
I
is being
can
paid
speak
by
my
anybody.
mind. I can speak my mind very well.
So can everybody on this panel. That's why they're here.
You understand? So if you are not in this country, if you have not been outside, if you don't have persona, what do you call it? Experience, you can't speak more. I want to talk to people that live in the north. I want to talk to them. I don't want to talk to somebody who lives abroad. He doesn't know what is going on. I live in Ibadan. I was living in Kano.
Let's focus on the question. Yeah. The
What's the
question
question?
is.
Listen, let me go back.
The question is about the security. The security you said was a problem, and we're saying that the governors, which many people call them the executives governors, are not transparent with their security vote. You said that they're paying people for Amotekun. So that means that Amotekun, are they working? Are they actually improving matters?
They are working.
You can answer that question.
They are working. Can I give you an example? Part of Amotekun people, many of them were killed recently by bandits, in Ibarapa area in Oyo State. Are you getting my point? If not for our local hunters, in fact, the whole of Yoruba land will have been override by now. They would have been taken over by all these bandits walking over Zamfara, Katsina. We take A47 by now. But I give kudos to our local hunters, which comprises, and the Amotekun, which comprises of Soludero, the Agbekoyas, the OPC,
how many people did they arrest or interdict or kill these Amotekun in this period that you're talking about? Yes.
Maybe I don't have any figure. Do you know how many people they've been arresting? Can I tell you? Somebody mentioned something about the Yorubas, the Yoruba boys are into kidnapping now. Of course, as I know that. Do you know that if all this so-called, I don't believe in, if you are into crime, that means you already have that crime in your system. Don't tell me because there's no job. No. The Fulanis are getting away. Some so-called bandits from Mali, from Niger, from Chad, they are coming into our country. They're getting away with all this kidnapping, raping, and everything. Nobody is doing anything to them. And our local boys are feeling, okay, let's go into it too. I agree to that. We have a lot of issues on our land. But listen, believe you me, I believe in the United Regions of Nigeria. That is me.
Will it stop? Will the killing stop when you have the Yoruba nation? Because the borders will still be porous.
People will still be coming in. I'm not talking of Yoruba nation. I'm talking of Southwest region. We have 6 regions now. I'm talking of United Regions of Nigeria. Let us start. Yoruba is an adage.
Okay, good.
You cannot say you want to remove your 2 legs from masquerade garment.
Let me bring Femi back into it. We need to be brief with our answers now because we need to get everybody in. Femi, one of the main arguments of separatist agitators and government opponents is that the 1990 Constitution is a fraudulent constitution. What makes it fraudulent, and how do you rectify the fraud?
Is this for me?
Is this for you?
Okay, thank you. So the constitution we have, well, people say, why some people say it's a fraud is because, well, the first statement there was "we the people of Nigeria." Well, that constitution, in my own opinion, yes, it's not perfect, okay, but it's what we have, right? And that's what.
If I could just add, just whilst you're thinking about it, the American Constitution says that, but I don't remember any African Americans or any Indians being part of the "we the people." Well, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So that's why some people say, "Where did we get that?" But okay, so it's what we have, right?
So that means the American Constitution is equally a fraud.
Well, so some people can say that, right? But so the fact is that is what we have. It's working for us. There are avenues, right, for us to make amendments to the Constitution, right, by going through the National Assembly. So we have procedures in place to improve it, right? But to say because it's a fraud, therefore we throw it away and then we don't do, and then we go into anarchy and all that. So that's my opinion. But let me just make a few comments on what we have been said so far. And Princess Oyelunke, sorry, it breaks my heart to hear about your loss, okay? That's very, very sad. Please accept my condolence for that. Let's look at a few things that has been discussed so far. Remember when we, on this Yoruba, remember if we go back to history, during the Oyo Empire, can you imagine the number of wars we had during the Oyo Empire? Remember the Ife Owu War, Ekiti Parapa War. Even during the Oyo Empire, it was war all over the place, okay? So we should just put that behind our mind. On this subject of restructuring that we are talking about, we have enough independence in place, right? For every state to be autonomous with this constitution that we have. What happens? The state governor is the chief security officer of the state. So there's a security issue. What does he do? He runs to Abuja. We had the COVID-19 pandemic, with the exception of Governor El Rufai and maybe Lagos State Governor. All the governors started running to Abuja. Okay, look at how the governors have marginalized the local government chairman. Look at the battle we had to have judicial autonomy at the state level. So when we are talking about that we need to restructure, we have what we have on ground. We have not even taken full advantage of the restructuring inbuilt into the present constitution. Okay, so on that level, I don't think we are really sincere. Now, my final comment on this issue of agitation for this and that, the people that are driving this agitation for Oduduwa Republic, first, they are not in a position to speak for the Yoruba people. Who told them to speak for us in the first place? Okay, and my last statement here is this. The Yorubas, if we want to be sincere to ourselves, because I had somebody say the Yorubas are marginalized. This is the height of ingratitude, right? Ingratitude. The Yoruba the Southwest is the biggest beneficiary of the Buhari administration. The Southwest, or maybe the South, is on course to produce. If everything goes well, we are on course. We have the sitting vice president is from the Southwest. If the South, Southeast, and Southwest agree, there's all likelihood that we are in a position, the Yorubas, to produce the next president. Where is the marginalization coming from? So it's very odd to me that in the midst of all this, we are talking marginalization. It's the height of ingratitude. Thank you.
Good. Let me bring Muyiwa back into the. I want to just say to everybody, you can call in, add comments, and also call in to give questions on +44 7939 895 108 or our Facebook and YouTube handles. Olumuyiwa, this question's for you, and is this that over time people seek and amend their constitutions to suit the current exigencies. Why should Nigeria be any different? Do separatist agitators not? Why do the separatist agitators not form a political party and seek the mandate of their people in changing the constitution by constitutional democratic means, as they do elsewhere, like in Chile? You can't have a referendum if referendum is in your constitution. You need to change the constitution to put in place a referendum. Why are they not following the democratic process, rather instead of just going out on the streets shouting and screaming?
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi. I mean, the answer is actually very, very straightforward. You know, if you're going through that, that is the right thing to do. Everybody knows that. But it seems there's no political will to do that. So the referendum will go out. Okay, the referendum is, we want to have regional governance. Okay, some people would think about it. If these people go, the oil belongs to us. Okay, if they're now controlling it, where do we get the money from? And let's face the fact, that's exactly what is going on. You know, what do we have? We don't have anything. So if we let this thing go, then we are done for. I mean, that's exactly the clerical. That's exactly what is happening. Now, you want to go to the National Assembly, where, you know, people from parts of the country are far outnumbered, you know, people from the other side. So if they put, the vote there, okay, let's vote about this, they're never going to win.
Are we not supposed to be practicing democracy?
Yes, we are going to practice democracy, but if a particular
or is it a qualified democracy that you're seeking?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, democracy is a game of numbers. We want to go to National Assembly. People from the northern part of the country outnumbers everybody else from the south. Okay,
but they don't speak. But they don't speak with one voice. The Middle Belt in Nigeria, they're not in sync with the far north. So why can't they collaborate with them?
All of them put together are not up to the number that's coming from there. So if you look at it's true, Femi, because if you look at the number of so-called local government and senatorial districts, etc., that we have, is how many senatorial districts do you have from Lagos? How many do we have from Oyo, etc.? But look at how many senatorial districts from Kano, from Borno, from Sokoto.
If you add South, Southeast, Southwest, and the Middle Belt, you will have a majority.
Unfortunately, I don't want to put the wrong number. I don't have it now. I don't have it in my head. I can send it to you.
I've done the research. You have it. You have it.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing I know that is, if you put it on a scale, okay, we cannot actually, if the vote has to go, we cannot win. The South cannot win. The Midwest cannot win. Everybody cannot win. That's a fact. So that's
what democracy is about, isn't it? It's about democracy.
It's about democracy, but you see, we're talking about the 1999 Constitution.
So if you don't get your way,
the Constitution has allocated so many senatorial, so many things that are not viable. Okay, that we have in the so-called Constitution. That these people, they just wait there. You can shout as much as you want. You are going to do democracy, and you're going to come here, and you're not even going to win. Okay, so that's essentially what it is. So what I'm saying is that there has to be the agitation. Let's be focused. There has to be an agitation. Look, personally, I'm not a separatist. I believe in game of number, because if you look at it all over the world, the economy, Nigeria is about 200 million. We have that capacity to be able to do things if we set our house in order. That's what I want.
Doesn't work properly.
If the goal is not good, then what are we going to do? Let's restructure. Let each region, be self-determined, and we can have a single state. I prefer that way, because we have the labor at 200 million. Nigerians are not they're not lazy. If you bring a foreign direct investment and people coming here to establish, it's going to create jobs for so many people. People are going to Bangladesh, people are going to China, people are going to all of these places, have these massive, industrial estates, bringing out the fabric that we all wear. And Hugo Boss is made in Bangladesh. Okay, so that's where. So Nigeria has that advantage of population, which we should harness to our maximum advantage. So as a result, I believe we should be together, but it has to be in a way that we can manage, that will be beneficial for every federation unit. So we need to practice this our federalism. We need to do it in reality, not just in name or on paper. And that's where I stand. But however, if the agitation is there and it's not happening, then we got a way of Czechoslovakia to agree to be separate. And it's as simple as that. But that's not my first choice.
Okay, let me bring Deacon Adeoye into it again. Another debate high on Yoruba Nation agitators is taxes. They insist that taxes raised in the Southwest should be retained in the Southwest. They're also claiming that company taxes and VAT should be collected by the state and then a proportion remitted to the federal government. Going by the way states mismanage their revenues, which are not transparent and lack little accountability, such a move will be a disaster, just giving a bigger milk bottle for executive governors to loot. What say you to this? Adeoye, unmute yourself. Are you there? Adeoye? You're on mute. You need to unmute yourself. Deacon, can you hear us? Okay, I think he's having problems with his mic. I think it's Temitaya who's next. Temitaya, would you want to address that question? Unmute yourself. Who's muted you? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, there we go. Right. Okay. So to begin with,
yeah,
one of the things that confuses me about Yoruba regions is that we already have states. How smaller can you get in terms of administering people? We have states, we have local governments. It cannot get any better than that. That's number one. Now, secondly, so when you talk about taxes in the South, I mean, it's taxes in states where they are recovered from staying in those states. This is where some of the arguments of the 1999 Constitution, some of the areas that I think we could do with amendments. Because if we want to have a federalist, a federalist political system, let's have a federalist political system. Unless we've decided that we want to amend it from what's understood politically as a federalist system. I mean, take for example, to the best of my knowledge, the United States of America practices possibly what you can call, a proper federalist system where, each state manages its own resources, each state, takes its own revenue into itself, and, very little goes into the federal government. What the federal government gets to its purse, it administers on its own. So if we wanted to go into that, method, I think what the governors do with the money or don't do with the money, it's outside the hands of the governors, or it's outside of what is happening today. It's about making sure that we have a constitution that is fit for purpose, where people can hold the people that we elect into office into account. So it's not about what they're doing now. It's about the rights that the Constitution gives to the citizens and the rights that we have within that legislation to hold them to account. So I wouldn't go along the path of, the governments are, the governors are doing a whole lot of things that we don't agree with. But that's not a reason not to do what is right. So yes, in that way, it is very, very important for a state like Nigeria to work in a way that allows it to compete with itself, whether you like to admit it or not. The way we are set up, we are all kind of internally competing with each other. You only need to go to Facebook or Twitter or wherever. Those are our realities, and we should not run away from it. As much as I love Nigeria and remain somebody who will continue to be on the side of Nigeria remaining one, it's very important for us to admit to these inadequacies and begin to look into how we resolve them. So that's my position in terms of that. Now, in respect of some of the things that my sister and one of my brothers here have said, Princess Ma, I'm very sorry, but our fathers, they say, us as Yorubas, let me try and translate that into English. That when a child falls, a child looks forward, looks in front when the child falls. But when an adult or when there's somebody who is wise falls, they look back, they look behind them. And the reason why they look behind is they want to see what made them fall so that they can avoid it in front of them. Number one, the Yoruba nation as we know it, not the Yoruba nation, the people who spoke Yoruba until the British came were at war with each other for 16 years. In fact, the British had to come and force a treaty upon them to get them to stop the war. And it was after that war stopped that the treaty of, the Conference of Berlin happened. Lagos State, as we know it, kind of stood on its own as a colony. Lagos was, colonized separately as a colony on its own, not part of Yoruba land.
Yeah.
How's this? Is this better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the reality is that, and if we then set that aside and then go to the 50s and the 60s, remember this was the period, yes, infrastructurally and ideologically, but the moment some of our leaders had a divergence of thought, the Yoruba nation went up in smoke. I wasn't born then, but there are plenty of books, plenty of material around that we can all study so that the Yoruba nation doesn't repeat that. Operation Wetie was the time when we had the Western region ruled and led by you know, Akintola and Awolowo. The moment the two of them went apart, the idea of the Western region basically fell apart. And the history is there for all of us. And now let's even now set that aside. I think it was Dr. Olufemi who made the point. I'm from Ogun State. And rather fortunately for me tonight, I can contribute from a manner of a section of Ogun State that continues to complain about marginalization to this day. I am from Ogun West. Forget about even the fact that Ogun West has never produced a governor. Even in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development, and in terms of government presence, Ogun West has to, you know, people have to go on TV and, you know, almost like embarrass the government to get things done. And this is this, and we're all Yorubas. The difference between Egba and Awori and, you know, the language that people in Ogun West speak is very minimal. But they're both speaking Yoruba. But at the same time, they're, you know, so you have that there. So the only way out of this, I think there are only two ways out. It's either we do away with democracy altogether and agree that democracy cannot work for us, and that's a separate argument that, you know, or a separate discussion that I'm willing to have with people, because other people have done it and have done it successfully. China is not a democratic state and it's doing wonderfully well. China has done wonderfully in the last 30 years and it's not democratic. It didn't have to go through democracy. Yeah, exactly. All of the Gulf states are doing wonderfully well and they're not democracies. So the decision we have to make is, all right, do we want to say this democracy doesn't work for us, let's rethink it? Or if we are going to govern ourselves by democracy, then let's abide within the gambit and within the rules of democracy. So,
Maybe, please, let me come in. Sorry to do that. People are talking about before the British that people, you know, Yoruba people were fighting. It's happened all over the world. Nigeria only had one civil war. Britain has 3 civil wars: the Battle of Edge, the Battle of Buffalo, and Battle of Naseby. So what are we talking about? Everyone, Paris, in the French, they had many civil wars. So it's not peculiar to us saying that, oh, before these and we're at each other's throat. At that point in time, at the medieval times, there were wars because everybody wants to grab land. It's all of our land. But after some time, that will settle down. So we shouldn't bring it to excuse that because, you know, there was war, the Iraq people were fighting, there's going to be...
It's not an excuse. You can see the insecurity in the land right now. But let me take on... Deacon, are you there? Can you hear me? Let's put on your mic now. Are you... Deacon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Good, fantastic. You missed that other question, but I'm going to give this one to you. Agitators look to Lagos air and seaports as sources of wealth, but their importance as ports for the whole of Nigeria in Yoruba nation, they will, but for the importance of them as ports for the whole of Nigeria, in the Yoruba nation, they will not be the airports of choice. So, for example, if you had a Yoruba nation, what is to say that people should fly in through Lagos? They could fly in through any other airport and they could bring in their goods through Port Harcourt or any other port, or even Cotonou. So what is this thing that, oh, because we've got the ports, we are, you know, they're only important because it serves the whole of Nigeria and indeed greater West Africa, because going into Niger Republic and even some parts of Cameroon and Chad. If you separate, you don't have that benefit.
Right. 1 second for me. Just give me a second. Yeah, can I help you? Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we should get someone else to answer that question. Doctor, go ahead.
Now, it's important for us to understand that some of the benefits and the taxation that we get from Lagos is because of the fact that Lagos is part of Nigeria. All this will go away when we go to these things. About the issue of the regionalization that we're talking about, my brother was talking about. Where is ODUDUWA group today? It belongs to the West, to the Yoruba nation. It has been stolen to nothing by the leadership on Yoruba land. So if we are talking about going to a nation, we need to look at ourselves. We have a generation of people who we call Yoruba people now, who are different from the Yorubas that we thought we had during the Western region. And also, we are forgetting that during the regional government that we talked about, we are 69 million. 69 million, but we are 200 million now. So we have different things. Like Temitope also said about the issue of governance. We are talking about regional government. Regional government means that we are now making the governance further away from the people. State is closer to the people. Local government is closer to the people. We are not getting good governance. You are talking about region. So what are we talking about? What we are talking about, government that serves the people, the government that serves the common man. But the issue is this: we are looking at, every time we look for the easiest way out, federal government. Federal government. Federal government, can I just tickle the fancy everyone? Health is under the governors. Look at the health situation in Nigeria. Is it better? It's not. And also, please, I think Muiwa, is it Muiwa was talking about the issue, was talking about the issue of numbers. Every state has 3 senators. Every state of Nigeria is the only areas that we have more numbers is the area of members of representatives. But let me tell you, local government. The local government also have very little effect on issue of the constitution. But let me tell you something. We just talk about the North. The North is not one entity. It is not. We have the Northeast, the Northwest, and the North Central. So also, like we say, the South. The South is not one. They have some middle belt. Everybody have their own agitation. The idea of, when we go into numbers, they will vote us out. It is because we don't have something tangible to take ahead. Most of the time, when we talk about this issue of change, restructure, and all this stuff, the people that are talking about restructuring are talking about position, getting office, getting power. Those are the princess. Don't shake your head. Let me tell you, Sma, the issue of restructuring for a lot of people, a lot of elite is position. Restructuring to a lot of elite is position.
Service chief.
Service chief.
Let me bring Princess. Whilst he's having fun there, Princess Ekushel. Now the federal government budget is $39 billion. It's $39 billion. I'm talking to you now. This is your question. The federal government budget is $39 billion for 250 million Nigerians. This is pathetic and ridiculous. What will be the budget for Yoruba Nation of some 50 to 60 million people, according to the current state budgets? Because I've done a calculation based on the state budgets of the states now, the 6 regional state governments in the Southwest. And if you include the federal allocation, the total budget for the 6 Southwest states is approximately 2.16 trillion naira, which is $5.3 billion. Now, I ask you this question in all sincerity. Is $5.3 billion, will that be adequate to provide defense, police, infrastructure, continuous electricity, prosperity and jobs for ODUDUWA Republic?
Thank you very much. You see, your question at times goes away from the main discussion. I want to go to some points my sister made.
I just want to say something. This is very key to the point of the question.
Yes, I know.
Is ODUDUWA viable? So this is the question. And I'm saying to you, with a budget of that level...
You see, ODUDUWA Nation, regional government is more or less the same. It's just about the name. I don't want to go into that name. I was going into that name, but I changed. Then, because after experiencing and talking and seeing things, listen, sir, when we talk of nation or regional government, I want to use this medium to tell our people. I'm sure as we're online now, some Northerners will be watching us, South Igbos and South people.
Yes, it's a Nigerian discussion. Absolutely.
Yes, it's a Nigerian discussion. May I say, because some people are agitating for Yoruba Nation, Biafra, and Middle Belt, I'm talking of region. It does not mean when we go back to our region, does not mean that we are going to chase away the people of non-tribe out of our land. No.
Maybe that's your position. That might not necessarily be the rest of the agitation's position.
It
That's
is
your
my,
position.
it's not about my own position. That is a general thing. May I tell you, Professor Banjakitoye, I was the only female on the high table the day we pronounced him the leader of Yoruba. Yeah. I started the Ilana Oduduwa that is being carried all over now. I started it. And I opted out when things were going somehow. Listen, sir, we have more than enough on our land. The moment some people, only one senator, one governor is putting what is supposed to be meant for everybody. And why into his own pocket? Why am I advocating for region? Let us go and manage ourselves. If it is kuli we are getting in our land, let us know that this is only kuli we have, and we're going to eat it, and we're going to be satisfied. Do you understand? Then, okay, when we say we appoint governors, senators, or whatever, I don't know, this kind of election we're going to have, we know ourselves. We will know ourselves. We will know who to go and beat at home. If we not do the right thing. But many of them now, they run from Ibadan or from Abeokuta or from whatever they are in Abuja. When they come, they sneak in with their tinted glass jeep and everything. But when we were within our region, please, okay, from the local government to the state to the region, we know Ojuwa Makaramu, we know who to deal with. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. We have more than enough resources to take care of ourselves. But look at our IGR in Nigeria.
As I said to you, I've looked at I've looked at the budgets of the states. $5.2 billion is inadequate for 60 billion people. Let me bring.
Talking of government budget. I'm talking of what we can get in our land.
I'm not talking federal government. I'm talking about state government budgets.
Femi.
All right? Go ahead.
Femi. Can I come into that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So number one, I think that question is a mischievous question.
Why is it mischievous?
It's a mischievous question, and the reason why it's a mischievous question is that you're talking about people's, and I'm probably playing devil's advocate here, but you're talking about people's development as if it's stagnant. Oh, it's not. No. It's not. Listen, it's not going to be stagnant. So if we have a region or whatever it is, if that comes out today, if you had 5 billion today, no, and you know what they say about necessity being the mother of invention. I am pretty sure that we will be forced to innovate, move forward. So you see why I say
they're not innovating now, but they will suddenly do it then.
They're not, because there's no reason to. There's no reason to go to Abuja and collect money now. This is why these are some areas. Remember what I said earlier, that these are some of the areas where I personally believe we could do with more centralization, because Nigeria will be better for it.
Let me bring Femi Adegbelugbe back into the equation. Femi, look, clearly, I keep saying, Femi, hold on. Let me bring Femi. Let's bring Femi in. Let's bring Femi in, please. We're running out of time. Femi, will ODUDUWA Republic also continue fuel subsidies, as most of its fuel needs will be imported? I mean, you're an oil and gas man. You can deal with that one in the answering this as well. In a messy, scattered Nigeria divorce, what will happen to all the assets of non-Yoruba? Princess is telling us they don't need to worry. Will they lose them? Will all non-Yoruba be deported, or will they be allowed to take up Yoruba nation citizenship, then constitute a new marginal minority that may also likely seek secession or to become a non-Yoruba part of the ODUDUWA nation? And they might want to ask for self-determination, and it goes on. What do you say to that?
Yeah, so this is what the situation will look like, right? If, God forbid, if the Yoruba nation or ODUDUWA Republic comes to life, what it means is the Yorubas, right, will have an ODUDUWA passport, right? And if you want to go to the north, well, you need a visa or whatever, right? So you are a citizen of ODUDUWA Republic, right? And it does not mean that you cannot reside in the north. If you want to reside in the north, maybe under the ECOWAS treaty, you will not need a work permit. But you are a resident there. That is no longer your country. You, of course, you can buy houses there. You can do so. You can do all those sorts of things. But this is what we even forget. Okay, do we know that apart from oil that you are talking about, do you know that the North feeds the Southwest, right? The yam, the tomatoes, the onions, and all these things. The North is the food basket of the nation. This is the fact. It's not something you cannot eat oil. Okay, so when it comes to oil, you cannot eat oil. But the North today, the North today that we say, oh, the Fulani man is my enemy. The Fulani man wants to kill me. The Fulani man is raping my this, is doing that. But you eat, they feed you. The food you eat comes from them. It comes from the North. And let me just say this clearly, right? The Yoruba man.
Princess is shaking her head again.
And
I don't know where her beef is coming from. Maybe it's coming from import.
So let me just say one thing, right? The Yoruba man and the Fulani man have lived peacefully for centuries. We never had any problem. Like I told you, I'm a Yoruba man. I grew up in Kano. The first language I spoke before speaking Yoruba was Hausa. Okay, I spoke Hausa. That is the first language I spoke. So, but what really surprises me is how suddenly this sentiment against the Fulanis developed in the Southwest of recent. It was not like this. It was not like this before. Where some people now feel, oh, the Fulani man is my enemy. The Fulani man is in my farm. Is in this. Let me tell you, this insecurity you are talking about, Seth, the biggest insecurity is in the Northwest. For every one killing of banditry, every death from banditry or kidnapping in the Southwest, 100 has happened in the Northwest. So, madam, I want to speak facts here, right? I want to tell you facts. The Yoruba man and the Yoruba and the Fulani man are brothers. They are like this. All these sentiments that the Fulani man is not my enemy, is doing this, is doing that. This is trash. We should forget about it. Unite as a country. What will move us forward in this country is not all this hatred. It's not all these sentiments. Okay, the Yoruba man is your brother, is your friend. Today, the Fulani man is married to the Eba woman. The Ondo man is married to the Kanuri man. We have come a long way. All this division, all this hate speech, it will not take us anywhere. Thank you.
Okay, good. Look, I want to bring, we're running out of time, but this topic is so strong, so we must continue. Adeoye, I hope you're on song now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, Femi, go ahead. Yeah, Femi, yeah, I'm with you.
You're going to be able to answer this question because you've been missing out. It's not intentional. I want you to know that. Yeah. Okay. So now,
I understand.
Yeah. So, how is Yoruba Nation's separatist agitating being directed by Professor Stephen Adebanjo Akintoye, whose relevance has expired, and is spearheaded by a known alleged PDP political thug and car smuggler, who many claim has blood on his hands, as its main mouthpiece for a sophisticated Yoruba people guiding the Yoruba Nation agenda down a dead end? Where are the vanguard of the Yoruba intelligentsia, the business and religious community leaders, the political elite, or our royalty supporting the Yoruba Nation? Because without them, this thing is dead on arrival, isn't it?
Femi, first and foremost, let me just correct one statement. Let's not just try to come on board and try and use derogatory words against people who mean well for their people. You know, I can fully understand if you echo different sentiments as to Professor Akintoye is doing a very good job. You know, in extremely difficult circumstances. And also try to understand why people will not buy into the ideologies of Sunday Adeyemo, aka Sunday Igboho. A Yoruba man with good intentions, but maybe not with the right application. I can fully understand that. But what I would say is, look, Femi, everybody can come up with their own perception about why this shouldn't be, that shouldn't be. but it still boils down to one thing at the end of the day. Nigeria presently, my brother spoke eloquently about a few minutes ago. He was born in the north, raised in the north. The first language he spoke was Hausa language. Now, I mean, I think I've raised some issues with Tunde in the past. You and I know that this is 21st century Nigeria, and the Nigeria that you and I grew up in, 30, 40 years ago, is not the Nigeria of today. Femi, not a lot of Nigerians would gone are the days when we used to do common entrance before we went to secondary schools. Where a father or a mother would say, "Look, we want you to just go and explore, what it's like in other parts of Nigeria." I have some of my friends that went to school in Sokoto, Kaduna, and other places. But Nigeria of today, no parent in their right frame of mind, is willing to send their children to the north or any other part of Nigeria because of all these insecurity issues. Now, when we keep saying people are fighting a lost cause, you have to understand the reasons and the motives behind them. Everybody's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. You cannot force me to agree with your own understanding or the way you feel as you think. If my argument is against or for a particular agenda, you have to respect that. But until it is proven, it is on. Sorry.
I said which I am, which we are. Sorry, Femi. About the point I'm making is, no man is an island. No man is an island.
Yeah.
So you can have these ideas. It's all great. Princess can have these ideas. But if the Yoruba intelligentsia, the people that matter within Yoruba nation, the people of affluence, the money man, the politicians, if they're not on board, it's dead on arrival. That's my point. It's not
I mean, what I keep saying is this. People are still entitled to feel the way they feel. Look, if even in your own territory, even in your own community, if you're not getting the impression that you have a sense of belonging, or you feel that you're being treated as an individual, talk less of being a Nigerian, then people are entitled to do or feel the way they feel. So, but I keep saying one thing. The most important thing is, look, Professor Akitoye is agitating for an independent Yoruba nation. Look, let's have a referendum. Let people decide on the way forward. And when people now decide that, okay, this is not the best way forward, then we can look for other options. But we cannot keep talking about united Nigeria. We cannot be talking of one Nigeria when when the country is breaking to pieces. And that's one thing that we need to understand.
Yeah, I accept your point. Let me bring Muyiwa into it. But like I said, you want a referendum. There's ways of how to go about doing a referendum, and it's not being done. And that's why I say, when you follow a person or persons that are following a narrative that's not going to work, they take you on a dead end. So, Muyiwa, why is it that hate for other tribes, specifically the House of Fulani, the fulcrum of most, if not all, the separatist agitators in Nigeria, especially Yoruba nation agitators, one of who's hating these House of Fulani is Mr. Adeyinka grandson, who's facing trial that commenced this week in London, following his arrest and investigations for crimes hinging on racial, ethnic, and tribal hatred against the Igbo and House of Fulani Nigerians. You can't have a separatist agenda based on hate. It's bound to fail, isn't it?
Absolutely. From my point of view, there's no need for hatred, to be honest. We shouldn't hate each other. Not me. It's not about hatred. It's not about blowing holes, that will solve those problems. It's just going to cause high blood pressure for no reason. It's not about that. It's about coming together and having, informed decision that how do we want to govern ourselves. It's about governance. It's about structure. Even if you look at companies, sometimes you hear about restructuring. They do things with branding to make things move forward. Let's use that word. Let Nigeria rebrand. Let us rebrand. We cannot continue the way it is. I'm not saying Yoruba should hate anybody or this one should hate. No. That's not where I stand. But I dislike that. You shouldn't hate anybody. You know, the problem is not outside. The problem is not Fulani. The problem is not Yoruba. The problem is not Igbo. The problem is not any of those things. It's about structure. Okay, we have tried a particular structure, and it is not working. Let us reflect.
Okay, let me bring Dr. Olufemi into it. And I believe that most of us will agree that the structure is wrong, but we need to follow democratic means in order to change it. And I feel that those who are at the forefront of the agitations are not doing the best agitating in terms of using constitutional means to get what they want. And that's why I keep saying it's likely to be dead on arrival. Doctor, this hatred amongst Yoruba Nation agitators even goes beyond other tribes into abuse, insults and hatred for any Omo ODUDUWA who prefers to remain as one Niger than to scatter Niger. Do you support those within the Yoruba Nation that call any Yoruba opposed to Yoruba Nation a bastard? After all, the much maligned 99 Constitution confers freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, thought and association. Surely it's one's right to choose one's own opinions and also what one thinks is best for them individually. That's why I say again that without seeking the mandate of the Yorubas, these agitators are just speaking for themselves. Doctor, you need to open your mic.
Thank you. I've always said it that so those agitators is because of lack of argument or point of argument. That's where they go this aggressive and calling people names. I've always said to them when I have an opportunity, go and seek the mandate of the people. Form an Odua People's Party. Contest election. Win election like Niger Farage did. It took him almost 25 years to get Brexit. If you are so convinced about what you want to do, form a political party, contest election on the mandate, get a mandate of people, and then go there. Even start from local government level and let people know that you have a mandate of the people. The people that are leading the Odua movement do not even have mandate of their local government. The last time any of them contested election was in the 60s. Professor contested election in the 60s. So when we were talking about somebody that contested election before I was born, and it's now telling me to do something about Nigeria about today, is not relevant. Secondly, the constitution we are talking about, they kept on maligning, is a matter of amendment. The most amended constitution in the world is the American Constitution. See, 5th Amendment, 7th Amendment, 10th Amendment. Amend the constitution to suit. It's like saying that a marriage does not work because of a certificate. My marriage failed out because my certificate was written in blue. Marriage certificate is like what the constitution is what binds us in a marriage. If it does, as a people, let us begin to amend it to suit our purpose. And it's been amended, gradually amended. Even recently, there's an amendment that's going on about the modus operandi of contest election, which is direct primaries. That's a movement forward in political space. All we need to do is begin to amend our constitution to suit our purpose. But instead, what they want to do is straight away. The reason why they are doing this, Femi, is because they are not relevant. They cannot contest election in their local government and win. So the only way is let us be aggressive, let us abuse everybody, let us call everybody names, and therefore very soon some of them will start going to jail because because social media is recording this their hate. And this hate is so much that you begin to say, where is this coming from? Is this all about politics? Some people say that, oh, they are not committed. Please, I was one of the people that went to prison because of democracy in Nigeria. So when I'm talking about it, I know what I'm talking about. We fought for democracy in Nigeria. As a student union leader, we were arrested and we were imprisoned. So when we talk about it, I am not just somebody that's talking on the side of the road. I was a victim of military regime. So people say, let's go to the military regime. That person that said that should be taken to the firing squad and shot. Because those of us that knew what military regime means, you will never go back there. So we are still talking about democracy now. We are talking about what we want and what we don't want. They will come and take it from your bedroom and go and put you in prison for the next 10 months. Nobody knows where you are. And we're talking about people that doesn't want to care, don't want to hear. We are talking about local government. We are talking about in the military regime. There was nothing like this. And we are having this. People say throw it away.
because they are not popular, because they don't have their way. Please, for goodness sake, democracy is a game of number and conviction. Go and convince your community. Go and convince your people. Let them buy what you want to say.
Let me bring Temitaya in. Temitaya, ODUDUWA Investment Corporation was mentioned earlier, is being cited as an example of the great strides of the Western region and the Yoruba nation by extension. But if you look at ODUDUWA Investment Corporation now, it's a shell of itself being used as a cash cow, being looted by Southwest governors. At its inception, it went through a period of mismanagement and embezzlement by senior managers. These problems have nothing to do with the federal government. You can see the deplorable state of many ODUDUWA Investment Corporation properties with hardly any maintenance and occupants not even paying the rent. Is this the kind of ODUDUWA nation management we should be looking forward to when we have Yoruba nation?
Well, first off, I am a one Nigerian person, so I am probably not the person to ask about what we can look forward to in whatever kind of nation we end up with, if we were to ever end up.
Maybe Princess can answer this after you. Go on.
So yeah. However, so one of the comments people often make when we're talking about one Nigeria that I personally disagree with. It's I think it's Dr. Adebuluwe's comment. See, every section of Nigeria needs each other. One of the things I know for a fact is that Hausas don't eat a lot of meat. So if you talk about the north, the food basket of Nigeria, well, it's all well and good to say the north is the food basket of Nigeria. If the north cannot sell its produce to the rest of Nigeria, it's useless for the north to produce all this food that will go to waste. So we need each other, and it is very important to always make that clear that one region of Nigeria does not have some kind of a superior position over other regions. So, putting that aside. Now, going back to what you were saying, I honestly believe that wherever we find ourselves, Nigerians are a very intelligent set of people. I believe that we will do whatever we need to do to make our country work. And we're doing it now, even though it's very slow. And a lot of us are impatient about, the pace at which it is being done, or the pace of progress that we're recording. And part of that impatience and part of that frustration is what is birthing all these things. If you were to go and look at the 1999 Constitution, between what we had then to now, some of the changes that we've had that we can record. One of them, Dr. Olufemi just mentioned that direct primaries. I mean, if all of us are reading newspapers now, we know that a lot of our governors are against that. They're against that amendment. But it's something that people have always wanted, and it pushed to the point where the people who are representing us in our national assemblies have put it forward to the point where it got signed and it got passed. So that's one thing. The Niger Delta Commission, the NDDC, was passed into actual legislation. It wasn't always there from 1999. That's another progress that's been made. That's number two. Number three, another one that I can think of. Yeah, the Not Too Young to Run bill. That wasn't part of the Constitution as of 1999. And I think what we need to keep doing is to keep bringing all these things that we find unsatisfactory about the way our country is being run. We need to continue to put the heat on the people that represent us. And personally, my personal opinion, we don't put enough attention on our state governors. In fact, they do worse damage to us than the people in Abuja do to us. I'm speaking as somebody from Ogun State. Look, where I live in Ogun State, I live in Songwater. I don't need to tell you any more than that. And a lot. So in Songwater today, if you buy a brand new car and you live in that area, I can guarantee you within 6 months, if it's a brand new car, within 6 months, you will start visiting mechanic. The state of roads there. How many federal roads are in that local government, ODUDUWA? How many federal roads are there? I know of 3 in my head. The rest are trunk B roads. that are supposed to be managed by the governor of Ogun State, and you have some trustee roads which indirectly should be managed by local government, but which the governor would have cornered. So his actions impact me more than anything that's being done in Abuja. And we are, we take a lot of our focus away from that. So rather, unfortunately, Femi, I haven't answered your question. And the reason why I haven't answered it is because I'm a one Nigerian, and I don't think in that. I tend to think of how to make Nigeria, the country, work. And I think of, bills and legislations and things that we can do, the kind of things that we can put on the people that represent us to give us the kind of nation that we desire. The same thing that people are saying that we're going to do if we were to end up in a regional government or whatever. Why can't we just start doing that now?
Okay, I think this kind of question will maybe be up that street. This is going to go to Femi Adegbunugbe. We are at the cost of a democratic rotation to the southwest, at least in the APC, to choose a candidate that the Southwest want, not one imposed on us like OBJ. Yet we Yoruba want to scatter Niger, and some Yoruba are even saying there will be no elections in 2023. Are we not just shooting ourselves in the foot?
Exactly the point. Exactly. Spot on, right? We have the Yorubas, right? As it is now, we have a sitting VP that has a chance, has a good probability, right? We're not saying 100% to become the president come 2023. And then we have this, and then it is the same geopolitical zone, the Southwest, that is saying there will be no elections. There will be no elections. So the same Yoruba, right? We are shouting marginalization, and we are all a section of the Yorubas are the people in the forefront to scuttle an election that is likely to produce a Southwesterner as the president. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So this is where I say this political affiliation comes in, right? All these people speak the truth, right? The truth is bitter, it is better. All these people that have come together say Yoruba this, ODUDUWA Republic, there will be no elections. If you really look behind, they are aligned to a particular political body, right? This whole agitation is not genuine. And
put your mic on mute, Ade, when you're talking.
Last day, yeah?
Ade, put your mic on mute, please, because we don't hear what you're having your conversation. Yeah, go on, Femi. Femi. Have you finished your statement?
Yes, thank you so much.
So we're going to go on current affairs quickly before we end up the show, but I want to ask this last question, and this is open to everybody on the forum. This is just basically talking about what we're really saying. Yoruba can't feed ourselves. The economics show that we are not viable as a result. Some say that Yoruba Nation, as a separate independent entity outside Niger, is dead on arrival. So finally, I'm going to ask you all round to just answer that one. What say you to this? Who wants to answer? Any one of you?
Can I take that?
Let Adam Muyiwa, I think, because he hasn't spoken for a while. Go ahead, Muyiwa.
Well, about viability, I think anything is viable. Honest, put your mind to it, and you can make it work. Exactly. But yeah, you can make it work. So it's not a question of viability. Necessity is more than a bit of invention. By the time you find yourself in the deep end, you find a way to swim, and you're going to swim out. So it's as simple as that. So just standing by the by the roadside and say, oh, it's not going to be viable because we have been the way we are for so long. It's not to say that it cannot be viable. Even though that's not my position, but if it has to come to that, then definitely we will survive. But I mean, it's the last word. Let's do what we need to do. Let's get ourselves together. Let's rebrand this country. Let's do what we need to do. Let's have a prosperous country, and it will be, just have to change the way we do things. To be honest, it's not difficult. Okay. If we have the will and political will and personal will to do what is right, I'm sure we can get it right, and we get the right results.
Thank you, everyone, on that topic. And I'm just going to go quickly into current affairs. Usually I would do a break now, but we've been going on, so we might as well just finish off. It's current affairs. This one is going to you, Princess. Are you with us? The Lagos Justice Panel, into what some term as the End SARS Lekki Massacre, has produced its damning report, which concludes inter alia that the atrocious maiming and killing of and I quote on this, unarmed, helpless protesters while sitting on the floor and waving flags while singing their Nigerian anthem can be equated to a massacre in context. This report clearly defines a limited massacre only in the context of the manner of the killing and not in its magnitude, debunking some outrageous media scaremongering reports describing the deaths in Lekki as genocide massacre. So what do you say to this report that's come out now?
First of all, I would like to say kudos to the panel that investigated that. Anybody, like I said, people speak from experience, and they are the one who knows the pain. You can't speak for people that were directly involved or that were that feeling the pain. So we don't call it massacre. What do we call it? We watch CNN, we watch protests all over the world. Where do you see where they use live bullets? It's fair.
They use them in America. I can tell you that for a fact.
As of when?
National Guard in the recent riots, Black Lives Matter. They use live ammunition.
Not immediately, sir.
Those aren't comparable events, by the way.
Yes, very incomparable. It's a different issue entirely. We're under a dictator government right now.
No.
And people forget.
What is the definition of dictator?
I disagree with you.
What's the definition of the?
I already know you. Let me correct one impression.
Okay, let her finish. She said he's a dictator. I want her to define what's a dictator. Let her define what a dictator is.
That is your own opinion. That I have my own opinion.
It's not about opinion. What is the dictator? How do you define a dictator?
What do you say?
How do you define a dictator?
Oh. Hey, listen, can I remind you? The man at the end of the year today was once in power. Excuse me, you asked me not to.
Femi, doctor, please, let her speak. Doctor, let her speak. Go on.
When you were talking, you have to intervene, and please don't interrupt.
I have told him to stop. Go ahead.
This man was once head of state in this country. Thank God I was still a teenager, and I still remember. What has changed from then to now that is at the end of affair in Nigeria?
You are insincere about that.
Hold on. No talking, please. Make your point, because we're at the end now, so I want to bring others in. So you insist that Buhari is a dictator. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, he is a dictator.
No problem. I want to bring this question. I want to move on now. I want to bring this question into anyone who's of APC extraction. Following the fallout of APC factional infighting, compounded by the decampment of the Zamfara governor to APC, Senator Marafa is challenging the legality of the APC Convention Planning Committee in Abuja in court. What do you say to this? Isn't this going to be a big problem for the APC ahead of its convention?
That man should have been kicked out of that party a long time. That man should have been kicked out of that party a long time. The man is nothing but a nuisance. If a man is so much interested in hearing his own voice, to the extent that his state will lose a whole state, and he has not reflected. Hello. He has not reflected on the fact that because of his action, the whole state was lost. And he wants to do it again, and he has no apology for it. He's not a politician. The man is and he has, I've told people that the man has ADHD. The only voice he has is himself. It's his own voice.
But isn't the problem with APC for keeping him in there? Let's move the question on. Yeah, well, they haven't, and so they're gonna face more of their own wahala. Let's move on to another question. Nigeria's GDP growth has grown to 4.03% year on year. Is this not further evidence, coupled with the slowing of inflation rates, that President APC government, Mohamed Buhari APC government's economic recovery plan is having an impact? Who wants to answer this one?
Can I take that, please?
Go ahead.
So this is one of those times where the government gets on my nerves in playing around with statistics. Everybody knows across this whole world, 2020 was coronavirus. Almost next to nothing economic activity. So how do you, of course, if Nigeria will be in a terrible state if year on year our growth is negative. In fact, if I wanted to be a real devil's advocate, I would put those numbers side by side with 2019 numbers, which would then put us 2% down. So you tell me, where's the growth? Okay, because essentially, wait, so let me finish that. Because essentially in 2020, you were
5 minutes left, guys. We've got 5 minutes left. Quickly, briefly.
Yeah, so you're starting from zero. And if your numbers do not include that caveat, I believe you're being clever. You're trying to be clever with statistics, and that's not right. And this is one of the other things that the government does that makes it impossible to trust it sometimes.
Okay, so let me just add something there. So this statistics that come up here, right, is also backed up with facts. It's not just a Nigerian number. First of all, okay, it's not the World Bank and other world bodies monitor these statistics. So it's not a Nigerian number. First of all, now let me say something. As a result of the enterprise environmental factors from COVID-19. Not just Nigeria, many nations went into recession, okay? How did Nigeria do it? Nigeria went into recession twice, okay? Twice. We had negative GDP growth and went into recession twice. But what did the government do? The government spent their way out of recession by inflating the economy. This is why you see all these borrowings here and there to inflate the economy. So it is very positive, right? That in this very humongously challenging environment, right, globally, this global economic crisis, we are one of the few nations in the world, right? Very few nations did what we did, right? To successfully come out of recession twice in this global pandemic. I think that is commendable. But
I'm very sorry, sir. No.
We've got to move on. We've got 3 minutes. We've got to move on. This next question is open to others. ISWAP, a Boko Haram terrorists, have killed a brigadier general and other officers in an ambush in Gombe, engaged in the war against terrorism. Yet some disingenuous Nigerians insist that the government is not fighting terrorist bandits and kidnappers. This is uncharitable, unpatriotic, and a disrespect to the thousands of troops and law enforcement officers putting their lives on the line every day to safeguard Nigerians. What say you? Who's going to answer this one?
Yeah, I can go for that. To be honest, we must give kudos to our gallant soldiers and officers who are on the front line and who are trying to do their best within with the resources they have. Definitely, I believe they could have done more, but from what I've seen from videos, they are not fully catered. They don't have the equipment. If these soldiers have the right equipment, Boko Haram will have been routed a long time before now. But, I think people should cut them a slack and, they get them credit for what they're doing. I mean, from what we can see, but I hope and I wish that the effort should be stepped up. And when I say not because of lack of personnel, but to provide the equipment, the kit, they need to prosecute it. I've seen soldiers wearing slippers, flip-flops, and they're shooting. It doesn't really look well and all that kind of thing. So they need to do more to support the soldiers, to support these officers, improve, have technology, to improve intelligence and to be able to do things. So I believe if that is on them, we should be fine.
Okay. All right, let me take this next question and the penultimate question. Those who are often referred to as executives, demigod governors are trying desperately to stop President Muhammad Buhari from signing the Electoral Amendment Act to further their own selfish interests to block the adoption of direct party primaries. What do you think about this? Are the legislators serving their own interest or the interest of Nigerians? Why did they not include transparent party finances, prohibition of state funding of parties campaigning, and with stiff penalties, and also membership subscription for parties?
Yeah, I think it's a win-win situation for the masses. The legislators too are now becoming victims, and that's why they are beginning to do this now, because most of the governors determine who comes to the National Assembly through where they are still in their states without elections, and that's where the legislators are now on our side, so we are the winners at the end of the day. So concerning that issue, I am almost sure, by the grace of God, the president will attend to that, because when we have proper democracy, most of these governors will not even come back. Most of them have become demigods and become emperors. They determine who comes to the National Assembly at their own time, even without elections, and therefore we become more transparent. By the time this comes into force, elections will mean elections. Numbers will count, vote will count, and therefore people will know who their representatives are.
Okay, fantastic. The final question for everybody. Nigeria has qualified to the playoffs round of the World Cup, having beaten Liberia and drawing with Cape Verde. What do we think of our team and its prospects in the African Cup of Nations scheduled for Cameroon in January next year? And we will be in Qatar for the World Cup, going by our poor performances, which is not inspiring.
Sakura.
What's
it's not worth it. Yeah, sack the coach. It's not worth it.
Sack the coach. That's your view.
It's not worth it.
What say you, Temitaya?
I am an Arsenal fan, so I'm just beginning to see some joy on that side. So I'm not watching Nigerian games at the minute.
Hey, Abuna.
I'm a Liverpool supporter for my sins. Muyiwa, what do you say? Are we going to get to the African Cup of Nations final? Are we even going to get to the World Cup final in Qatar? With the team, the way
Why not? I'm always an optimist. If the guys get their act together, they put their mind to it, and they put their 120% on the pitch, that's nothing stopping them from being the best.
Okay, fantastic. On that optimistic note, I want to thank everyone for joining us on this extended show. Enough is enough. Please make sure, Soro, Soke, it's been a very wonderful show, and I really appreciate everybody's contribution. Don't be shy. Don't be silent. If you see something, say something. If you can't take it no more, do something about it. Niger go better. Believe in one Niger. We all want a better Niger. A big shout out to all the people that made contributions and comments. We always watch them and read them. Sorry we couldn't bring them out. So big shout out to sponsors Niger Beauty Products, Share My Haven Hair and Beauty Spa for massage therapy and skincare, and Masasi B Fashions for sponsorship and advert placements. Contact Prime View Television. I'm your host, Mr. Femi Oke, founder of Better Niger. See you same time next week. We'll debate another hot topic. Over and out.
Good night.
Prime View TV.